Support for Just Seen It comes from Acorn, distributors of Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, a modern detective series set in 1920s Melbourne. Now on DVD and Blu-ray. More information is available at acornonline.com/PTV. On this episode of Just Seen It, we review the street racing thriller, Fast and Furious 6.
Hey, don't touch that. That's nothing to play with, man.
Fast and Furious 6 is insane fun.
We interview Pierce Brosnan and Trina Dearholm from Love Is All You Need.
I buy it. It was cleverly done, really.
And rejoin the Wolfpack in The Hangover Part 3.
Did you hear that guy? He will kill Doug, period.
In an attempt to do something new and different, director Todd Phillips ended up accidentally creating a drama that was too dramatic and not very funny.
And check out the new animated adventure, Epic.
Where are we?
Oh, it's where this guy lives.
Summer films typically focus on epic battles between good versus evil, and this film falls perfectly in that wheelhouse.
All right here on Just Seen It. Dominic and the gang lead wealthy lives after their last heist, but remain fugitives.
The crew we're after, they hit like thunder and disappear like smoke. You going alone, you won't ever touch them.
In return for their amnesty, they agree to help Agent Hobbs.
Your brother never told you never threaten a man's family?
Together they join forces to stop a dangerous mercenary in Fast and Furious 6.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Sean. Let's speed things along here, because we got to talk about Fast and Furious 6, or just to get through the title quicker, F6. We've all just seen it. Aaron, put your foot on the gas and tell me about this movie.
The script was written by Chris Morgan, who has written every one of the Fast and Furious pictures from Tokyo Drift up until now. And I had a fantastically fun time, but I will say that the script has a lot of problems. But it's not the strength of the movie. You're not supposed to focus on it. I don't think people going into this movie who have seen the other ones and are fans are gonna care.
Really?
So I had fun. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Okay. There's thematic problems. There's dialogue problems. I get it.
But we're supposed to forgive it because there's cool action sequences.
Yes.
But they're 20 minutes of a 2-hour and 10-minute long movie. The rest of it's like verbal Ambien. I was like, oh.
I thought the dialogue was about 20 minutes of a 2-hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Well, the rest of it's people just looking at each other a lot and going,
The Fast Five was a critical success, so I thought the pressure was on for Fast and Furious 6. It will give fans everything that they're asking for, and maybe even more, in terms of what they go to see these movies for.
Yeah.
Which is cars flying after each other and just going absolutely nuts.
Cool
and this
deaths.
movie has some pretty insane sequences.
It does, but there is no irony at all. They took it so seriously.
First off, several of these sequences, I'm thinking people are either going to die, or at least their arms and legs are going to be broken, and they walk away in the next scene without a scratch on them at all. Someone has to be looking at that, kind of laughing internally.
There's gotta be some give and take in terms of how serious they're taking themselves. Yes, it is a serious movie at times, but would it really work if it was just a complete joke all the time? I don't think so. I think there has to be a certain amount of seriousness.
And I agree, but the thing is, the whole thing was dead serious.
I don't know.
So
I
that
don't
when
think
you
so.
got to the kind of goofy action sequences, I mean, the end is on a runway. How long was that runway? That sequence went on for 15 minutes.
That's true.
It's the longest runway in history.
In the history of runways.
Yes.
But the thing that I didn't like that bothered me a couple things. One, everything that came out of their mouths was predictable. I was literally saying the dialogue before they were. They're not saying anything that interesting, and their characters weren't making any sense. You know, they had an opportunity here with Paul Walker, Jordana Brewster, they have a kid, and you know, he's like, I don't know if I can come with you on this adventure because I have a kid now. And Jordana Brewster's like, no, go ahead. That would never happen, first of all.
Yeah.
And then later on, they do their little drive or die. No, you have a child and a wife, girlfriend, whatever she is. But that could have been the conflict for the whole movie. Like, I don't know if I should be doing this because I have a responsibility now. But they're like, yeah.
The one I bought even less was the fact that Vin Diesel's current girlfriend says, oh, your ex-girlfriend showed up? Okay.
I'll just leave you alone.
Just go. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can go see if she's still alive. I don't mind.
And there's comedy. Ludacris and Tyrese have great back and forth. They're always the comedic people in the films.
Yeah,
I don't know about great.
I mean, there's plenty of comedy, and the action set pieces are so fantastic that I don't mind the script shortcomings. I really don't.
It's not dummy proof.
Man, I've been known to handle big guns. Relax.
This is kind of almost an all-star game at this point in terms of how many people are actually in this picture. Yeah. And the fact that they give each of them their own moments was pretty impressive to me, actually. Yeah. I thought some characters would just get, thrown in the back seat.
But everybody's got something to do.
They do.
Whether or not it's good or not,
but it's not
interesting.
Question.
I love The Rock. I will see anything with Dwayne Johnson in it, and he does a great job here. He's beating the crap out of people with ease, and it's just absolutely hilarious. Yeah, he threw a guy across the room. It was fantastic.
Right, without any sort of help.
One of the villain sidekicks is this gigantic guy that's even bigger than The Rock, and you just know at some point in the movie,
it's him versus The Rock.
They're gonna fight each other, and you like to see that. It's fun to see. I agree. I had a good time. I thought the cast as a whole actually gelled better in this film than they have in previous films.
Who I really did like in this was Luke Evans as the bad guy. I thought he had a lot of presence. His taking it seriously worked for me. Mm-hmm. And I think he brought a little bit of, not gravitas, but you know what I mean. He brought something more to it that kind of elevated what I was watching.
I walk away when she walks away.
Well then, it appears this inspiring tale has come to an end.
Despite a script with a lot of problems, Fast and Furious 6 is a whole lot of fun at the movie theaters, and I think fans of the series are going to love it, so I say see it.
Fans of the franchise are certainly going to like this, and I thought the action scenes were spectacular, but for anybody else who's not a big fan, I say run Fast and Furious away. Skip it.
Part 6 is fast, but it's entertaining, and you won't be furious, that's for sure. See it.
Well, our votes add up to 2 full tickets, which is a stream it for Fast and Furious 6. Cheers!
Cheers.
Cheers.
To Cars.
To The Rock.
You gorgeous, beautiful, sweet girl. This is never gonna happen. I'm a guy who's chosen to be by himself.
Live? Hvad er en overraskelse til dig?
It's such a beautifully written piece about an issue called cancer, which is swept under the carpet, but this was such a joyous celebration of life and romance and love and family.
What the hell do you think you're doing? Jeg skal bare nå det fly, fordi jeg skal til Italien. Min datter skal giftes.
Your daughter's getting married in Italy? My son's getting married in Italy. I'm Philip. If this was a Hollywood movie, they would have edited, censored it, sanitized it, just created a rather neutered piece of material, I think, and kept it very bland. Whereas this one really pushes the envelopes with dealing with sexuality, dealing with infidelity, dealing with cancer.
Jeg har også bare virkelig været forvirret og trist. Ked af det, ikke? Alt det med min sygdom, det har virkelig været hårdt for ham. Vil du høre på, hvad du står og siger? Men det forstår du slet ikke.
Never thought I would work with you.
No,
I really did. I was bowled over in that film in A Better World. I just thought, what a beautiful woman, what an amazing actress, what an incredible presence on the screen. And then, months later, the phone rings and I get a job, and I'm sitting there in Denmark.
And Piers was so nice because I was so nervous meeting this huge star. And we had the first reading, and he just, grabbed my arm and looked me into the eyes and said some of the lines and really invited me into his space. And we're doing this together, and that just made me relax completely. And we had a lot of fun doing this film.
Where is everyone?
Happy birthday.
I hate this country. I was concerned, and I said that right off the bat. I read the script, I loved the script, I loved Susanna's work. However, how do I fit into, quote-unquote, a Danish film as an Irishman? Susanna said, don't worry, I'll make it work. I just surrendered to the day, every day, and the making of the film, and then I saw the film, and then I just thought, wow, I buy it. I buy it. It was cleverly done, really. Right now, though, I want you to know how happy I am that you came here. The mere fact that we ever met in the first place is something to be happy about.
Our DVD pick for this week is a zombie love story. That's right, I said zombie love story. Warm Bodies.
They call these guys bonies. They'll eat anything with a heartbeat. I mean, I will too, but at least I'm conflicted about it. Nice watch.
This unique take on a young romance was so much fun that when Aaron, Brenna, and guest reviewer Aaron Neuwirth reviewed it earlier this year, they gave it a see it. Also out this week is the comedy Identity Thief, which we gave a see it, and A Good Day to Die Hard, which we gave a stream it. So there you have it, a zombie love story, a comedy, and John McClane, all for your home theater entertainment. Enjoy!
The Wolfpack has settled down, except for the unstable Alan.
Apparently Alan's been off his meds for almost 6 months. Oh, God. Look at him now.
When Doug is kidnapped, they must find the fugitive Leslie Chow.
Leslie Chow stole $21 million from me. And I figure the Wolfpack has the best chance of finding him.
So they return to Las Vegas for a final showdown in The Hangover Part 3.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
I'm Brenna.
And I'm Salim, and we're here recovering from The Hangover Part 3, the last in the Hangover franchise. We've all just seen it. Aaron, are you good? You good to talk about it?
This is picking up a few years after the events of Hangover Part 2. Everybody's leading normal lives, except for Alan, who's leading a terrible life. He's not on his medication anymore, and after a tragic family event, he realizes that he needs to get checked into some sort of rehabilitation center. So everybody from the Wolfpack, they reunite, and they go to take him on this journey, and madness ensues.
Would you say shenanigans ensue?
Shenanigans.
I would say shenanigans ensue, but there's not enough shenanigans, which is kind of the problem here.
Well, the Hangover charm's been lost since the first one. I mean, the second one was essentially the first movie again, but in Thailand, and parts of it were funny, but on the whole, they just didn't do anything new at all.
Exactly.
And here, they did do something new, but the script just ended up not being funny at all.
Yeah, no, it was extremely plot heavy, which I appreciated because you could tell the writers probably wanted to give a middle finger to anybody who said they weren't original in the second one because it kept the whole Hangover aesthetic, but that's what the Hangover is. It needs that aesthetic.
In an attempt to avoid being criticized for doing the same thing over again, they went in a completely different direction that doesn't work with this kind of film. This is a very sober story, and it doesn't quite work with the title and then the franchise history. What everybody took out of the first Hangover was Zach Galifianakis, and it made him into a household name. And this film is trying to do the same thing and making it the Zach Galifianakis movie. But the charm of this film is the ensemble work, is the fact that he's interacting with these normal characters and they're trying to react off of him.
Yes, I'll agree, but I appreciate that it was his movie, and his performance really helps it be his movie. A lot of the humorous moments are as a result of what he's doing. There are some that don't land at all, I'll agree with you there, but he doesn't do a bad job performance-wise. I think he relishes the fact that this is the last time he's going to be able to play this character.
This says Chow. How did you not know this was from Chow?
At the time, I thought it was Chow like goodbye. You know, like Ciao, Arrivederci, Sabaro, Papa John.
I'm writing him back.
Whoa, wait, just hold on.
I'm gonna tell him that you're happy he's out and that you'd love to see him.
Ooh, I would love to see him.
Ken Jeong as Leslie Chow is also really good. The only problem is there's too much of him in the movie. That doesn't mean that his performance is bad in any way.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Every once in a while his accent kind of slips, but it's okay. I appreciated all the things that he did, and some of the funniest parts of the whole movie were a result of him.
Ooh, I got into cockfighting. Oh, cockfighting, that sounds wonderful.
Oh, stay still, I'm trying to help! Are you out of your mind?
So of course, Bradley Cooper and Ed Helms and Justin Bartha are also in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Bradley Cooper, Oscar-nominated actor, did a good job. The problem is none of these three guys really had much to do, as we've said before.
I thought it was a misstep because it was really funny seeing, especially Ed Helms, having to deal with all these crazy shenanigans, and it just was devoid of that.
Oh, come on. He's not that bad. I mean, what's the worst that's happened? The tattoo?
Yeah, the tattoo's the worst. Right?
Definitely. Tattoo was the worst.
So I guess we should talk about the direction a little bit.
Todd Phillips did the first two. He did Due Date, he did Starsky and Hutch, he did Old School. Got a lot of comedies under his belt. Some of them are pretty funny, some of them aren't so funny.
Yeah.
I just think he had a really hard time balancing the drama and the comedy. I don't know if that was all his fault. He did write the script with Craig Mazin, so I blame him partially, but as a director, he doesn't save it. He doesn't make it any easier to digest.
I do have to say that there's some really suspenseful moments in this film, though. Before, the suspense was always sort of like, what did they do and how did it happen? This time it's, oh my God, is that character gonna die?
Yeah, because anything goes, it's the end of the series.
Well, and it's also important to note that the writers from the first Hangover did not return. And it's just the director and Craig Mazin.
Yeah,
they didn't return in the second one.
John Lucas and Scott Moore didn't write the second or the third one, and I think that definitely shows.
And going off of what you said, I love the suspense. There are many moments that my heart was definitely beating fast, but what it needs is these outrageous moments, these scenes with Mike Tyson and a tiger, and it just didn't have that.
I'll agree that the best moments in the film are the big comedic set pieces, but I just think it's a little too long, and he doesn't have the pacing right, and the script really sets him up for failure.
It's only an hour and a half long.
Yeah. I mean, it felt longer than that.
I mean, but I feel like conceptually they're running on empty.
This film tries hard to come full circle and come to terms with the things that happened in the first Hangover. So we're back in Vegas. We meet Carlos. We go back to Caesar's Palace. We go back to the roof of Caesar's Palace. There's all this effort put into making sure that we
Revisited. No, I agree. In fact, there is a whole scene whose whole purpose was to revisit these three movies all together. And at first it seems a little bit awkward, but then you understand that they're really trying to thematically connect all three of these movies.
The Hangover Part 3 was mildly funny, but disappointing overall. You will laugh a little, but you should watch it at home. Stream it.
The Hangover 3 is just far too sober. In an attempt to avoid doing the same thing over again, they miss out on what made it fun in the first place. Stream it.
Unfortunately, this film was too plot heavy, so this is a hangover that you should nurse at home. Stream it.
So our votes add up to 1.5 tickets, which is a stream it for Hangover Part 3.
All right, guys.
Fair enough. I have a headache.
Indeed.
MK discovers a world of magical but very small people. As evil forces attack, the whole forest is threatened. So she joins a ragtag team on a journey to save their world in Epic.
Hi, I'm David.
I'm Zoriana.
And I'm Leah, and today we're discussing the new animated film from Blue Sky Studios, released through Fox. It's called Epic, and we've all just seen it. What do we think?
Well, first of all, I want to welcome Zoriana Kitt to the show. You're with the Huffington Post.
That's correct. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, and we're going to talk about Epic, the new animated movie. Go ahead. You're the guest. You start first.
Well, Blue Sky Studios has brought us films like Ice Age and Rio, and they all have this sort of undercurrent of an environmental theme. So this movie, Epic, is sort of along those lines. It's essentially an environmental film disguised as this epic action film. So it's never preachy. It just kind of has this subtle message. It's loosely based on William Joyce's The Leafman and the Brave Good Bugs, but it's loosely based. So essentially it just takes the essence of that and builds on it. There's shades of Wizard of Oz, shades of Alice in Wonderland, and that actually never feels old, not in this film.
The problem I have with this film, and I do like this movie very much, is the first act for me really didn't work. You have these cliches of the teenage girl who's has to live with her eccentric dad. He has no time for her, and the dad and the mom were divorced. She hasn't been living with her dad for years, and you're like wondering, okay, this isn't a sympathetic character, the dad. Isn't that cool? I don't want to give away too much, but she gets involved with the forest creatures or the forest people. That's when it really started to work for me.
But that's sort of what you get when you have a movie like Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland. You do have to do this setup of a character that sort of has these fractured relationships, and she gets then transported into this world, and she has to somehow come to terms with her own issues while helping this world out before she can go back.
I don't know how much your mother told you about my work.
Nothing. It's just that you have a delusional belief in an advanced society of tiny people living in the woods. Or something.
I too, like you, David, enjoyed the film. However, I felt like some of the writing was a bit trite. This underlying theme of, we're all individual leaves on the same tree I know, I think
that didn't work for you?
I mean, I know, I like that. I think, oh, that's good messaging. But I just felt like it was cliche, trite, delivered a little too overly simplistic. This notion of good and evil, nature is good, rot is bad. Well, you know, the world is a little more complex than that. Even with films like The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy gets to bring a little bit of Oz back with her, and she takes a little bit of the real world with her into Oz. There were things that were just a little too simplistic in his portrayal of this world.
I think it's important to point out that Chris Wedge is the director. He co-wrote this movie. It's his production company, Blue Sky Studios. I think it was some of the best usage of 3D in an animated movie I've ever seen. It had the perfect balance of high action where you're flying through the forest and all of the soldiers fly on hummingbirds. So you're flying pretty fast. And this wonderful balance that I would almost equate to the famous speedster scene from The Return of the Jedi, where they're flying through the forest. And I think a lot of people always pull on that, and it was definitely felt like that in this movie.
Mr. Wedge does an excellent job with managing scape and vista.
Yeah.
But that's Wedge's strength, though. I mean, remember Rio? That was also very grand with the jungle and even the cities of Brazil. You know, that was epic in scope as well. That's really one of his strengths.
So what do we think about the voice actors in this movie?
I recognized that Amanda Seyfried and Josh Hutcherson were the two lead characters right away. I also recognized Colin Farrell. They invested in their characters so much that I just went with it. I thought that they were great.
This film is shameless in its stunt casting. I mean, if you like comedians, you've got Aziz Ansari and Chris O'Dowd. If you want an Oscar winner, you've got Christoph Waltz. If you want the young, hip actors, there's Amanda Seyfried and Josh Hutcherson. If you're into music, there's Beyonce, Pitbull, Steven Tyler. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on.
And if you want legitimate acting, you've got Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Did it work for you, though, or no?
Yes, the voices actually did match the characters. So in this case, although it was quite shameless, it did actually work. There wasn't anyone that I felt that was clearly not suited to voice those roles.
And I agree, this is one of those instances where all of these celebrities actually work in their roles.
I thought that Christoph Waltz was genuinely scary, menacing, frightening, and really I'm thinking for little kids that are like under 10, they're probably going to be cowering in their seats when he's on the screen.
And then when you think about the two, the snail and the slug, I mean, you got to wonder how much of it was scripted and how much did they just say, Aziz,
go ahead,
just let loose.
Do your thing. Chris, you guys are fantastic, and I laughed several times with the slug and the grub.
Oh, your stories are boring and torturous.
Because you can picture them being spun off. I mean, they are the equivalent of in Ice Age, the squirrel who's with the chasing the nut. So they are the equivalent to that in this film.
They were fantastic. Yeah. I think that one of the inspirations for the director, Chris Wedge, in doing this film was this fascination with the fact that there are worlds that are out there that we just can't perceive with the naked eye, and I find that fascinating.
Once Epic gets past its somewhat predictable first act, it really takes off with beautiful animation, great storytelling, and wonderful voice characterization. So I give it a see it.
You know, for me, this film is really only epic in title, but it's harmless, enjoyable entertainment for the kids and the adults, so I say see it.
Epic is an epic film on so many levels, from the amount of star power in the casting, to the intricate details, to the grand action sequence. This movie is definitely a see it.
Cheers, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Zoriana.
Hi, I'm Brenna.
And I'm Leah. And today on Just Seen It, we are introducing a new segment called Remakes, Reboots, and Deja Vus, where we explore two films that are very similar in premise, like Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down, which will be coming out later on this year.
And also reboots and remakes. So you have the original Dawn of the Dead and its remake, and then you have Spider-Man and its reboot, The Amazing Spider-Man, which you can tell which one's better just from the titles.
Because it has amazing in it. And so, in celebration of blockbuster season, we're going to go back into the vault and pull out two classics, Armageddon.
What is this thing?
It's an asteroid, sir. It's what we call a global killer. The end of mankind.
And Deep Impact.
Are we on?
We're on, Mr. President.
few minutes ago, the United States ambassadors to every country in the world told the leaders of those nations what I'm about to tell you. The comments are still headed for Earth.
And we're going to debate which film is the better of the two.
I will be debating the far superior Deep Impact.
And I will be debating Armageddon. We have 30 seconds.
And then the other gets 30 seconds to rebut.
Exactly. But you can just go ahead and capitulate now, because you know you're going to lose. Who's going to go first?
Age Before Beauty.
I'm going to punch you. Armageddon is a better film for three main reasons. Its direction, its writing, and its cast. Michael Bay, he knows what he's doing with big-budget, spectacular films, which this is. This is what blockbuster summer films are supposed to be. The writing is much better. You have J.J. Abrams as one of the writers on this film. And J.J. Abrams, hello, okay? Star Trek, Star Wars, J.J. Abrams. And the cast, this is a high-wattage, star-filled cast with Bruce Willis at the helm. I don't need to say anything more.
Deep Impact has a point. Armageddon has none. It is just big, pretty explosions that don't make sense, that are very loud in space, which is a vacuum, there's no sound. All you have this silly, happy-go-lucky ending where it's, oh, everything's happy and wonderful and there's no repercussions, really. Both of them are scientifically inaccurate, but mine is more scientifically realistic, and it has the first black president before it was cool. Also, mine has got a better point. There are actual social ramifications. The story actually tries to say something. When the asteroid hits half the Earth and the other half is destroyed and burns up in the atmosphere, it's far more accurate. It exists on a deeper level, it has a point, and it addresses the issue of who get to live in an event of a mass extinction.
Just because it may seem more realistic doesn't make it a better film. I'll watch a documentary for that. In the end, you feel like it's a tie. It's like kissing your sister. That's your prize. What? So some days you win, some days you lose. We're going to destroy half of the asteroid, but we're going to let the other half of the asteroid come ahead and come and destroy half the planet? I don't think so. It's an unsatisfying film with an unsatisfying ending. All right, viewers, it's your turn to decide who gave the better argument to defend those films. Armageddon, which is clearly the better film, or
the far superior Deep Impact.
You should tweet us at JustSeenIt and vote for Armageddon because it is the better film.
And vote for Deep Impact.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Go to your room.
On our next episode, the summer movies come fast and furious. So we review the new comedy, The Internship, the newest take on The Bard, Much Ado About Nothing, the sci-fi thriller After Earth, and the magical Now You See Me. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
Do I have more to say?
Nope.
Support for Just Seen It comes from Acorn, distributors of Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, a modern detective series set in 1920s Melbourne. Now on DVD and Blu-ray. More information is available at acornonline.com/PTV.